Hello everyone, welcome back to Actual English. I'm Jennifer Clyde. It's time for lesson 200 and today's topic is home run or home runs, that is. Now, home runs are among the most popular aspects of baseball. So as a result, prolific home run hitters are probably the most famous among fans. And also, they are the highest paid by teams. Of course, we have wonderful Korean players playing overseas, such as Jenn200 and Ryuhyunjin, Choo Choo Train. And of course, we've had Park Chan-ho in the past as well. So we've got, wonderful players out here hitting homers all the time. My favorite player is Park Byung-ho, and he is really good. He is one strong hitter. Anyway, we'll be talking about home runs. But can you imagine making a non-stop circuit of all of the bases, starting from hitting the first base, second base, third base, checking to see where the ball is, and then going straight to the home base and bam, there you go. That's a home run. There are several different kinds of home runs though. Now there is the most common one, which is the type of home run that involves hitting the ball over the fence, over the outfield fence, or above a line on the outfield fence. That's a usual home run. There is also an inside the park home run, which occurs when a batter hits the ball into play and is able to circle the bases before the fielders can actually put him out. So that is called an inside the park home run. There's also a leadoff home run. It is a home run hit by the first batter of a team. And then when two consecutive batters, they each hit a home run, this is described as a back-to-back home run. Oh, it's so complicated. Don't worry, we will not be talking about all these complicated terms. We'll talk about home runs today. Are you ready? Let's begin then. Well, I'm very glad to hear that Kelly's father is doing well. She did mention that her father suffers from what's called polio. We'll talk about that briefly as we take a look at the conversation. So these two are talking about, of course, today's topic, home runs, how it must feel when you hit a home run, when you hit a homer, how exciting that feeling must be. Now, Kelly did mention that her father actually hit a homer when he was rather younger, and that was what brought him the opportunity to go to an Ivy League school, which is wonderful. Wow, it really is an impressive story. Let's take a look at the conversation together then. Here we go. Kelly says, Peter, one of my clearest memories from childhood. It means that it is a memory that she remembers very clearly. One of my clearest memories from childhood and learning about baseball comes from a story about my father and when he was young. Okay, so this is how she begins the conversation. Of course, we're talking about home runs and baseball. And she says, one of my clearest memories about baseball and also my memories of learning about baseball has something to do with my father. It has something to do with a story about my father and when he was young. Okay, and of course, Peter says, oh really? Did he play baseball? Okay, did he play baseball? She says he did. Yes, he did play baseball, but the interesting thing about my father is he suffers from polio. You can suffer from something, such as an illness. Suffer from an illness. In this case, we're talking about her father suffering from polio. Now, polio is short for poliomyelitis. It is a contagious viral infection. It usually affects children or young adults, and it can lead to paralysis, which means that you can be paralyzed in some parts of your body. It can lead to paralysis, breathing problems, or even in the most dangerous cases, it could lead to death as well. So this is very, very scary. But she says, well, my dad did play baseball, but what's so interesting is that he played baseball even when he suffered from polio. Okay, let's take a look at what else they say. Of course, Peter, I was very worried when I heard this too. So he says, oh no. And so Kelly says, well, thank you. Thank you for being worried about my father. And she says, he's okay now. Okay, here we go. But he suffered from polio in this part of his body, right? So she was actually, if you just listen to the conversation, you wouldn't know to which part of the body she was pointing to, but she was pointing to her right arm from the shoulder down. So she said, yes, he suffered from polio in this part of his body, okay? So imagine a baseball player, a hitter on top of that can only use one arm. So she's telling Peter to imagine. She's saying, imagine. Try to imagine or picture in your mind a baseball player, a batter, or a hitter just using one arm, okay? And then he says, it's possible to swing a bat with just one arm. He asks a question because it's hard for him to believe that it's actually possible. So instead of saying, is it possible, blah, 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 he's saying, it's possible to swing a bat just with one arm. And she says, yeah, wow, that's impressive. Yes, it really is impressive. And then she tells us a story, okay, story of her father when he was young. She says, when he was quite young, my grandfather told this to me. So this is a story that her grandfather told Kelly. She says, I guess there was a very important game, okay? It was the finals. And he was up. What could this mean? So imagine, as we go through Kelly's story, try to picture what she is saying. Imagine the situation. So he was young, and this is a story that Kelly's grandfather told her. There was a very important game. It was the finals, and he was up. What does he was up mean? It does not mean that he woke up from sleep. In this case, we're saying that he was ready to bat. You're ready to do a task, okay, or take on a responsibility. You can say that somebody is up or was up. In this case, you're saying he was up, ready to hit the ball, ready to bat. He was up as a hitter, okay? The bases were fully loaded. We're talking about first base, second base, and third base. These bases were loaded, meaning they were full. The crowd is stomping. Stomp means what? It's a variant of stamp, S-T-A-M-P, and it means to hit the ground with your foot, okay? I can't pound or stomp right now because it'll make a lot of noise, but okay, this is stomping, but very hard, okay? That is stomping. There's all this tension, okay? There's all this tension. Tension is basically mental or emotional stress or all that tension, okay? And you know, he isn't using his regular arm. He's not using his regular arm. So imagine, okay? One more time. It's a very important game. The finals. He is up, ready to bat. What happens? The bases, first base, second base, third base, they're all full, okay? They're fully loaded. The crowd is stomping their feet, and there's all this tension in the air, okay? And, you know, he isn't using his regular arm. Let's move on. He's using an arm that he's slowly building up strength in, okay? That he's slowly building up strength in. And what happens? And he hit a homer, and everybody paused. And you could just feel the tension as they waited. I love this story. Oh, it's so touching. So here we go. He's using his arm that he doesn't really have a lot of strength in, okay? So he's using his weak arm, and he hit a homer. He hit a home run, okay? And everybody paused, just stopped. There was silence. And you could just feel the tension as they waited to see if it was a home run or not, okay? There was silence. They held their breath. They stayed very quiet. They held their breath, meaning they didn't breathe. This is just a way of exaggerating. We're saying that People did not move. They were so still, they did not make a sound. They did not even breathe. They were so quiet. And it slowly went, and it kind of trickled over. Okay, so trickle means what? Trickle means to fall slowly or to drop slowly. So can you imagine? There's a ball, it's up there, and it trickles over. And Peter says, over the fence, right? And she says, over the fence. There you go, that was a home run. And everybody leapt to their feet, and that really changed my father's life. That was a wonderful story. Now leap, leaped, leapt. Okay, past tense and past participle. Leap just is another word for jump up and down, but you jump up suddenly from one spot to another. Okay, so everybody leapt to their feet. They jumped up, and that really changed my father's life. He says, that's unbelievable. It's so hard to believe. Wow, that's really impressive. The feeling that he must have had, it must have sent shivers down his spine. Now, this is a long idiomatic expression. Another expression for this is make your hair stand on end. This basically means to feel very frightened or excited, okay? And he says the whole crowd as well behind him. It must have made him feel so excited. Not only him, but everybody in the baseball stadium. She says, well, eventually he went on. He continued to get the attention of Ivy League schools. We're talking about these wonderful schools, a group of 8 universities regarded to be the best colleges in the US, that is. And she says, but I imagine a lot of people go a lifetime. Go a lifetime, meaning spend their whole life wondering what it feels like to hit a homer. I know I do. Meaning, she often wonders, what would it feel like to hit a home run? She wonders that. So she's saying, I bet a lot of people really are curious. They really, really want to feel how exciting it is, how exciting it feels to actually hit one slam or grand slam or a home run. I think she shared a very special story with us. Okay, anyhow, let's take a listen to the conversation one more time. Welcome back, everyone. Let's take you straight to today's actual expressions. Our first word is polio. Kelly was talking about how her father suffered from polio, or how he suffers from polio. Poliomyelitis is the complete word, and this is a shortened form of poliomyelitis. It is a contagious viral infection that usually affects young children or young adults, and it could lead to paralysis. Also, what was it? Yes, even death in the most dangerous or serious cases. Moving on to loaded. Okay, we were talking about how the bases were all loaded, or they were fully loaded, meaning they were full. The bases are loaded. If you say that, it means the bases are full. Somebody is standing at each and every base. Okay, what about stomp? Okay, some synonyms for stomp are beat and stamp. As I said, stomp is a variant of stamp, and it means to beat or strike one's foot on the ground. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, you can stomp your feet. Here we go. Tension, we're talking about anxiety, that mental or emotional stress, even nervousness. We were talking about all the tension that people could feel in the stadium. What about trickle? Okay, we talked about how the ball trickled over the fence, means to drop or even flow rather slowly. Okay, if something drops very fast, you wouldn't say that it trickled. You can say that something trickled if it flowed down or if it dropped slowly. Say, for example, if a friend of yours is upset, or let's say she was upset, and she started to cry, but all of a sudden, a tear just fell from her eye to her cheek, but very slowly. In that case, you can say a tear trickled down her face. It means a teardrop fell from her eye onto her face. Her tears trickled. Okay? What about to leap? As I said, leap. This is the pronunciation. Leapt, and also leaped. We're talking about the past present and the past participle. Now, these all mean leap means to jump or jump over or bounce, often suddenly and very quickly, okay? So past tense and past participle of leap, they're pronounced leapt and leaped, okay? All right, moving on to our first pattern for today. This one's easy, right? Okay. Remember, Callie said it was a final game. It was a final game, and he was up. He was up, meaning he was up at the home base or where he hits the ball, the batter hits. He was up, meaning he was there, ready to hit the ball, okay? Who's up next? Who's up next? You're not asking who is going to wake up next. You're saying who is going to hit next, perhaps in a baseball game. Who's up next? Or what about this? Park Byung-ho is the next batter up. He's the next batter up. He is the next batter up, which means he is the batter that is going to bat next. Got it? Okay, the second key pattern we have for you is to hit a homer or a grand slam. That is just another word for home run. So some synonyms for home run are homer, grand slam. Grand slam is often even used in basketball, I believe, okay? So homer, home run, they mean the same thing. Hit a homer. Did he just hit a homer? Did he just hit a homer? Meaning, did he just hit a home run? Let's try this 2 times together. Did he just hit a homer? Did he just hit a homer? Okay, good job. And then let's move on to our final pattern for today. Send shivers down or send shivers up somebody's spine. Now, you all know which part of our body is the spine. It's this part, okay? Imagine shivers going down your spine. When would you feel that? When you're incredibly frightened or excited, okay? All the hair on your arm, they all stand on its end. So when you're really scared, frightened, or excited, you can say that something sent shivers down or up your spine. Here is a sample sentence. The story sent shivers down my spine. Down is used slightly more commonly than up, okay? So let's practice with this sentence. The story sent shivers down my spine. The story was so scary, it sent shivers down my spine. Ooh, it was scary. Okay? All right, that is all for today's actual expressions. Practice them more on your own. I kind of had the feeling that Mary was probably not the type to enjoy baseball or really active sports. But who knows, I may be wrong. But she's so calm and so ladylike. Well, she said that she doesn't really enjoy baseball, or it's maybe that she doesn't know much about baseball. You know, you don't have to be a genius to enjoy baseball. Just as long as you know the basic rules, baseball can be a lot of fun. Anyhow, let's check out what she said. Now, she began by saying that baseball can be a bit slow, meaning it's not so exciting to her. But the best thing about baseball games is when someone hits a home run, or when someone hits a homer, especially if the teams are tied. Okay, if the teams have the same score, they are tied. And it's a close game. Okay, it's neck and neck. If you say that a game is a close game, you're saying that you're not sure who's going to win. This team may win, that team may win. Especially if the game is tied, yes, you can call that a close game. Okay, and if it's towards the end of the game, and if the bases are loaded. Here we go, loaded once again. So let's take a look at this whole thing once again. The best thing about baseball games is boom, 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 boom. When somebody hits a home run, or if the teams are tied, the teams have the same score, or if it's a close game, you don't know which team is going to win. It's an exciting game. Or if it's towards the end of the game, and if the bases are loaded, if they are full, okay, these are the times that she feels that baseball is really exciting and fun. I went to a baseball game when I was about 4 years old, a long, long time ago, and I had fallen asleep on my dad's lap. Okay, so it was so boring that she fell asleep on her dad's lap during the game, okay, at an actual baseball stadium, that is. But what happened? Suddenly, someone hit a home run, and the bases were loaded. And everyone went crazy. Just pay attention to these key words that I have circled, okay? She's talking about the excitement of the game. Somebody hit a home run, the bases were loaded, full, and everyone went crazy. Rah! They all jumped up and started screaming and shouting. And then finally, she says, even though I'm not a huge baseball fan, that moment in time when someone hits a home run is so exciting. Okay, so she ends by saying, although she is not a huge baseball fan, when you see someone hitting a home run, yes, it really is exciting. I love the actual story that she has presented us. Thank you, Mary, and hope you enjoyed one more time. You know, I think what was so special about today's lesson as we talked about home runs is that Kelly told us an actual story, the story of her father. It really brought or sent shivers down my spine because it wasn't exciting, but it was so true, and I don't know, it was such an impressive story. Wow, her father. I can imagine how exciting it was to actually be able to hit that home run. And also, Mary shared with us a very important story with us as well. She talked about baseball, how it's not her favorite sports game, but she's given us a great actual story response. So hope you all enjoyed it as well. Okay, next time we'll talk about a whole different topic. We'll move on to a new category and talk about what's kind of been happening around us right now. Okay, the next topic is election campaign. It may be a lot more difficult compared to baseball, but I'm sure there's a lot to learn. So please do join us for that next time. In the meantime, come to our homepage to www.ebse.co.kr. Check out Actual English with Jennifer, and please remember to post up some comments and postings. Okay, that is all for today, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.